other people, people tend to be trusting back towards us. So I think all this points to the fact that we should be, there are bad guys out there, and there are also, sadly, some bad institutions too, who are probably led by bad guys, but could get back on in charge again, but that most people, most of the time, are decent and trying to do an honest job.
Now, we can't flick a switch and say, well, right, from now on we all trust a particular institution, but over the long term, what can we do, or what can these different institutions do to regain the trust of the people? Well,
that's a great question. It's very hard to answer, but it is something around openness, and openness helps to make us more honest, and whether it's government behind closed doors or the police operating behind closed doors after the Stephen Lawrence affair, it's not helpful to getting to the truth, and the public quite rightly wants bodies and individuals to be open, and I think that's one of the best ways that we can rebuild trust in Britain. I also think in schools there's a lot more that we could be doing to help bring up young people to act in trusting ways. Our young people at schools, not just to avoid breaking laws because they're afraid of being punished, but to avoid breaking laws or school rules because it's right not to break them, and it's right to do the good thing and to be honest. And I think that in our schools, that's really, Ian, where I think it all begins, and that's the essential building block for building a more honest society. And beyond that, I think as much openness as possible and scrutiny helps to keep potentially devious people straight.
Anthony, thank you very much indeed for joining us. That's Dr. Anthony Selden,
Pleasure.
Political historian and commentator on British political leadership. His book is called Trust. 0845 6060973. Are we losing faith in many of our civil institutions, the police, MPs, the BBC, the NHS, bankers, sports people? The list goes on. And I suddenly thought during that list, well, actually, are we losing faith in each other? Because a lot of politicians, particularly libertarian politicians, put their faith in the instincts of individual people. Well, I wonder nowadays whether that faith is misplaced. Do you trust your fellow human beings to do the right thing, or do you often experience people doing the wrong thing, or in your opinion, the wrong thing? 0845 6060973 is the number to call. You can text me on 84850, email ian@lbc.co.uk, or you can tweet me at LBC973. Well, in a couple of minutes' time, we're going to be talking to the former Shadow Home Secretary David Davis. I'm going to be asking him about trust, but also quizzing him on exactly what's happened to Andrew Mitchell and what questions the police have to answer. Because I don't know about you, but I really have lost faith in the police, not just over the Andrew Mitchell case, but several instances where I've had contact with the police, where I've reported a break-in at my property, 7 hours later, nobody's come. Just things like that, where you think, well, have they got their priorities right? 0845 6060973, it's 7:15.